Welcome back to Bad Writing. My name is Joshua Fields Milburn. I'm an Emmy-nominated and New York Times best-selling author, but I haven't sold nearly as many books as today's example of bad writing. This is The Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown, and it is one of the best-selling novels of all time. How could it possibly be littered with bad writing? Well, I assure you, it is. We're going to start with just the first page. As soon as I flip to the first page here, what do we find? Renowned curator Jacques Sagnier staggered through the vaulted archway of the museum's grand gallery. He lunged for the nearest painting he could see, a Caravaggio. Grabbing the gilded frame, the 76-year-old man heaved the masterpiece toward himself until it tore from the wall, and Sagnier collapsed backward in a heap beneath the canvas. Why is that bad? Well, that's not a bad first draft, but for one of the best-selling books of all time, it's filled with excess. Brevity is the soul of wit. And so, when I read a paragraph like this, I want to see a lot more showing and a lot less telling in the story. And so let's just start with the first sentence there. Renowned curator. Okay, you're telling me he's renowned, but you could show me in a sentence or two why he is renowned. Okay, he staggered through the vaulted archway. What a weird verb to use there. Why was he staggering? Okay, maybe there was a good reason. That will compel me to keep reading. It turns out there isn't really a good reason that he's staggering. It's just the use of the wrong verb in this sentence. You could say ran through, you could say walked through. You can get precise with your language, but sometimes when we try to get cute, we're the opposite of precise. Okay, he staggered through the vaulted archway. Okay, that's pretty nice. I like that. Of the museum's grand gallery. Okay. He lunged for the nearest painting he could see, a Caravaggio. Okay, well that's redundant, right? Wouldn't you just say, he lunged for the nearest Caravaggio? Don't insult the reader. The reader knows what a Caravaggio is, and if they can't, they can pick it up through context clues, especially if it's good writing. Returning to the text here, grabbing the gilded frame, the 76-year-old man, again, we're telling when we could be showing that he's old. So you can show through his posture or through his behaviors, the way that he walks, the way that he talks, the way that he smells, that he's old. And that way it's going to put me in the immediate scene. I'm going to feel closer to this character. He heaved the masterpiece toward himself until it tore from the wall. Okay, that doesn't even make any sense. You can't heave something toward yourself. That doesn't make sense. And also, it's out of order. You wouldn't heave it until you fall, right? Or until the painting falls. You would pull it from the wall until it falls, right? And so the sentence itself just doesn't really add up. It doesn't put me in the scene. I know what the writer means by this, clearly, but it doesn't put me in the scene. If anything, it takes me out of the scene. Now, I want to contrast that with today's example of good writing. And today's example of good writing comes from Dan Brown, The Da Vinci Code. Now, you might be saying, well, what do you mean? I thought you said it was bad writing. Well, yes, every great book, well, virtually every great book, maybe some Don DeLillo or Mary Carr books or a Lionel Shriver book might not have a bad line in it. But most books are going to have some aspects of bad writing in them, and that's totally fine. What's so compelling about the Da Vinci Code, the reason that it sells so well, is not the weird use of mixed metaphors. In fact, one of the most notorious lines in all of writing history comes from this book when Dan Brown talks about one of the characters, his eyes went white like a shark getting ready to attack. What? At first I know what he means, but my eyes don't go white. Oh wait, sharks don't go white when they're getting ready to attack either. It's nonsense. But we can always get past the nonsense. When? When there is phenomenal storytelling. Every chapter in this book ends with a type of cliffhanger. Dan Brown has figured out the art of the cliffhanger. It is the definition of a page turner. I remember the first time that I read this book, it was several decades ago when it first came out. I was in my early 20s, and I was hooked right away. I kept returning to the book over and over, not because I found the writing particularly compelling, but because the story was so well researched, so robust, and it kept me wanting to learn more. I fell in love with the characters because the story propelled me forward. So sometimes, here's a good writing tip for you. If you can write something that is compelling enough where I'm engrossed in the story, it doesn't matter how bad the writing is, if the story is well told. If you'd like more writing tips, you can download my free book. It's called 15 Ways to Write Better over at howtowritebetter.org. The best thing about this book is you can read it within an hour and walk away with 15 tips that will improve your writing today.